Welcome back, everybody. In my hands right now we have the Aero Precision AC-15 rifle that we've recently reviewed. It's a very base model AR-15, and I'll set this aside and show you what just showed up. Fancy box that we have here. It looks very nondescript, but this is from Brownells, and what I did was probably 3 or 4 days ago now, however long it takes to ship anyway, I decided that we needed to do some sort of upgrades to this rifle. Not that it needs it to be functional, because it really doesn't, but there's certain things that you can do with the AR-15 that make it more ergonomic, more capable of fighting in low light, things like that. So that's what's in that box. What we're going to do next is step inside, install them on this rifle. I'll probably fast forward the footage so you guys don't get too bored by it. And after that, we'll head out to the range, do some shooting with it, and let you know sort of why we selected each piece and why I like it, if I don't. And that'll pretty much do it. So let's head inside, get those on the rifle, and then get out to the range. So you guys have seen it out there on the range, actually in a couple different configurations, which we'll get into here in just a second. But on the rear, we've had the Magpul Sl K Stock, and the SLK is sort of like their PDW type stock, so it's not exactly intended to be on a 16-inch rifle. It has that sort of short heel here, and I just wanted to try it out, honestly, so that's why we picked it up. I've never had a Magpul stock that I don't like, so this one is going to be added into that list, and for the price, it's an excellent stock. We have the sling attachment points here, the SL style adjuster. Of course, this one here is mil spec because the Aero rifle has the mil spec tube on there. You can see there it gives you a little bit more cheek weld than like a standard standard mil spec stock, I should say, but it's not like overly obtrusive. Again, it's designed for PDW type weapons. This is not one of those. However, I found it very comfortable, easy to roll into the shoulder with this nice toe here. The only thing that you really kind of got to consider if you're looking at it is that it doesn't have QD sling attachment points, so that's something to keep in mind. Of course, you can tie paracord back here, or actually if you have a sling that works with that attachment method, just run it through there just fine. For the grip, we went with the Tango Down AR-15 grip, and I kind of went with it because I had never tried one and wanted to see how it felt. So there's certainly some pros and cons to it in my opinion. First off, of course, the lockup is solid like you'd expect on an AR-15. It has that little piece right here that comes forward and protects your finger from getting rubbed if you're using a standard mil-spec trigger guard, which we're not using, but we'll get to that here in a second. Also has a nice high beaver tail to let you get really high up on the gun. I really appreciate both of those. I also like the fat circumference here on the bottom because I have relatively large hands, so it fills my hands up nice. A good pattern here on the sides, on both sides. Something I don't like about it though is that that pattern doesn't continue around the front. It's just sort of like a panel on the right and the left, which I really don't understand why that would be. Just put it all the way around and give you that good grip texture for your whole hand. So if they ever come up with a Gen 2 Tango Down, if you're listening, go ahead and do that. Additionally, one thing I would like is this is a standard AR-15 grip angle. That's totally fine. I don't really have a problem with it. I've started to slightly prefer a little bit more vertical, but don't mind this either. Just sort of something to think about. Again, if they're coming out with the Gen 2, one thing I do like is that we do have a storage compartment down here on the bottom. If you guys want to store something in there, you can. And it is rubber, so that way it seals up there and is water. I don't want to say it's waterproof, but probably sealed off from water. If you're out like patrolling in the rain or hunting in the rain, you should be just fine. With the trigger guard, we went for the Bravo Company USA trigger guard. It's something I have a lot of experience with. Really like it. Opens it up, and for me, when I shoot AR-15s a lot, like throughout the day, if I'm using a mil-spec trigger guard, I will start to get some rubbing here on my finger. I know, right? First world problems, but it is what it is. And for just a slight amount that this one runs for, it's a good upgrade all the way around. There's plenty of others, but the BCM one is certainly as good as any. The next part's going to be something that's going to be a little controversial, or at least it require a little bit of discussion. So I always post pictures on my Instagram and Facebook page and places like that before I do these reviews, sort of along the way, to let you guys know it's coming. And I kept getting tons of questions. Why did I go with this handguard? This is the Magpul M-Lock mid-length handguard. It's their standard model with the M-Lock attachment points, which is what they have here, a little M-Lock rail. We also have the MBG Magpul vertical foregrip on there. Originally I went with the black one, then went with the tan, kind of back and forth, but everyone was asking why this, not this. So this is the Magpul MOE SL. It's sort of a little bit of a sleeker design. I have a full review on this actually if you guys are interested in that, but people always wanted to know why I didn't go with this, and there's a very simple reason for that. The Aero Precision uses a triangle length, or triangle shaped handguard retainer up front, and this one here, the SL version, only works with circular ones. You can kind of see just looking at it right there that it's designed for a circle pattern. So that's why. Very few rifles actually with mid-length gas systems use a circle pattern. So it's kind of odd that Magpul went with it. I think they did just so that way they could make it as slim as possible, with this, which this rail certainly is. But most rifles are going to require the standard one that we have here. So that's why we went with that. But just on the handguards overall, they're a great value. I think they're like 33 or 34 bucks over at Brownells. And of course, we're rolling in pictures of that so you guys can see it like we've been doing throughout the video. But obviously allow M-Lock attachment points all the way around. We use the Enforced light on this little rail that we have here up front through some of it. We also use the Surefire Scout, the Fury, 600 Fury on an arson machine mount as well. So we've used a couple of different M-Lock mounts. They're all rock solid as you'd expect from Magpul. It does have the interior heat shield in there to protect it from melting. Of course, all polymer handguards, if you do mag dump after mag dump, will eventually melt, but it does a good job of keeping the heat off your hands for sure, especially considering the price point. The basic idea of this video is just to show you guys the furniture upgrades that you see here. Of course, along the way, we've been using a couple other things because I'm always reviewing new things here on the channel. It's one of the good things I get to do by running the channel. So a few other things that you guys saw on the rifle, I just want to cover real quick. Like up front, you've seen us use this with the birdcage flash hider, but you'll also seen some footage with the Wilson here. That's the Q comp they have up front in 223. Basically, the way I look at it is that they say it's a comp, all right? So my personal opinion when I hear comp, what I think is it's going to be loud and it's going to have a lot of blast. Well, it doesn't, and it also reduces flash and is a little bit softer shooting than an A2 flash hider. So it does all of that. Really the big difference between this and the A2, of course, is going to be you're going to get a little bit of weight difference and a little bit of length difference. But if you want a little bit more flash suppression, a little bit more recoil reduction, if you will, that's definitely something to check out. That's actually at Brownells too. I think it's like $59. So that's one thing we added on there. Just in addition, I just want to go over these again so you guys are, I'm sure, are going to be asking questions. And the optic we use throughout this portion of the video is going to be the Trijicon MRO. So far so good. Doing a bunch more testing with it, and we have it mounted up in an American Defense Manufacturing mount, an FDE to sort of go with the rifle overall. A bunch of different mags have been used, like we mentioned, 2 different lights, the Enforce WML, this is the Gen 2. I just put a video up on that. And we also use the Surefire Scout Fury IntelliBeam. So this one's really cool. The video will be coming out shortly. And like I said, we had it on the arson machine mount. It's currently in an impact weapons component mount, because we've been using lots of key mod rifles, but this light has a lot of cool stuff going on. More on that in the video. So I think just the furniture that we covered, which was actually the original intent of this video, at the time I ordered it from Brownells, totaled up to I think $155 or $160. So with that kind of investment, if you will, in a basic rifle like this one was, you certainly can get some added capability. As we just mentioned, you get a lot of capability for the money. So what kind of capability do you get? Well, number one, you get the ability to add vertical foregrips should you choose to do so, bipods, anything like that. lights, which is certainly important for a defensive use weapon. So really you could get that capability with just the handguard if you're on a real strict budget, which I think some people who have this rifle out there would be. The handguard and a light mounting option would be the first thing I'd go for if you're going to use it for a defensive rifle. Stock's obviously a little bit more comfortable than the mil-spec one for sure. Same with the grip and the trigger guard. So those are sort of nice to haves, but in my opinion, if you're going to be using your rifle as a defensive rifle, having the light mounting solution is key. So really, not saying you have to get all these, but this is what I went with so far. I liked all of them. Really just a couple improvements here on the grip, and maybe Magpul, whatever, if you can ever design a little bit slimmer handguard, that'll work. If not, these ones work just fine. Had no issues with it. So that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions or anything like that about the rifle, the upgrades, anything like that, you can always post down below in the comment section. You can also ask those questions over at my Facebook page as always, but I think I mentioned it like 15 times. Links for all this stuff will be down below, so you guys can go over to Brownells and pick them up. But that's about it. Wanted to keep it sort of basic, budgety type upgrades that will allow a budget rifle to perform a little bit better at the range. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you guys in the next video.